Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing a review on Ready to Love, Season 4, Episode 4. And the title of the show, I should say, is Sipping Wine and Spilling Tea. My channel is about life, love, and relationships. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let's get into Ready to Love. The show starts with Tommy meeting the ladies at the wine bar. They all meet up. Tommy comes in and does his whole Tommy thing. Tells the ladies this is where we're going to meet and we're going to discuss everything that's happening with your dates and things like that. And this week, the goal is for them to dig deeper. They have to dig deeper. They have to really try to get to know these men, set up some dates, and get to know them on a deeper level. Um, the first date is Vernisha and Joel. Vernisha goes to Joel's house. Joel cooks a little breakfast. He has a little presentation. He has some flowers. I like Joel. I think Joel is a genuine nice guy from what I can see. And I like Vernisha. She's very kind. I just don't know really what Vernisha is looking for. I really hope that she's looking for more than just someone to be a good provider in person for her kids. That is very important, but you need something more for you too. And I don't know if Vernisha is really solid in that. I think she's great. I think she's a really sweet person, but I have some concerns about that with her. But they meet and they talk and they basically talk about them being why they're interested in one another. And see, that's another thing about the theme in a lot of these dates, not just this one, is that they're not really asking questions about the person. Like you're trying to get to know this person. So it's like, what is it about this person that's important to you? Like, how are they going to bring value to your life? Who is this person? And I feel like they should spend a little more time asking those kind of questions because the whole goal of this episode is to dig deeper. So, who are you should be the theme. Tommy should have named this one, Who Are You? You need to know who these people are for as much as that you can give at this point and based off of what you're looking for. So if you're looking for someone who's a great communicator, ask about communication. I know her children are important, but your children are going to go grow up and then they're going to be on their own. So who is this man to you? Like you have to have a relationship with him just as well as your children. So I just wish they would they're kind of in the blushing stage. They're just kind of like blushing and being cute with one another. But I really wish they would dig more into who the person is and learning about the person. He does open up about his wife and how that's a part of his life, and he's grown and learned a lot from his relationship from his wife. He couldn't really verbalize what that is, and hopefully he can express that more because he should know. I think my interpretation is that he's learned that he can do it. He can be married, but I don't want to speak for him. But that's what I think. But that is it for Renisha and Troy. I mean, sorry, Venetia and Joelle. Then Touchy Troy and Alexa meets up. This was actually funny. I commend Alexa because she was not playing with him. Alexis came in was like, listen, the streets are saying that you out here offering drinks and everything to everybody. And I'm not here for it. So she was just like, no, she didn't let him get away with the BS. I really, really I said it in my last episode. I do not care for Troy. Touchy Troy is so inappropriate. He just, But she confronts him about his gaming and kissing on everybody and telling everybody the same thing. Very old school Mac Daddy type situation. And Troy has amnesia. He doesn't know what she's talking about. What you talking about? That wasn't me. I didn't do it. Like he is so problematic. He is so problematic. But Alexis stays on him and she's like, no, you know what you're doing. I'm gonna need you to cut it out. Now, she was doing good. Where she went wrong is she's like, well, who is your number one? Don't worry about it, Alexis. Why do you care? He's not for you. He's not for anyone. He is for the streets. Let him go back to where he came from. Don't worry about any of that. And she's like, well, who is your number one? She's still thinking about it. That's what I'm getting. There's no need to think about it. That man is not serious. You would not be happily married with him or in a relationship with him because he can't commit. He can't be honest. He has no goal or no focus. He's just out here. He's just a bunch of marbles just rolling all over the place. Like, let that situation go. Next, we have KG or Chris and Amber meet up at the gym. And Chris says, let me see how you're going to fight for my love. Let me say this. Last season, Naya called Chris out. Naya was right. Her delivery was wrong. Okay. And she was kind of all over the place about some things. But Chris, why is anybody fighting for your love, my darling? Just why? No one should have to fight for your love. And I'm not even going to say he was joking because I really think he's serious. I could say, oh, I think he was just joking. I don't believe he's joking. I think he's serious. And that's not a woman's place. You guys can fight together to grow together, but she shouldn't have to fight for your love with anyone or with you. That means you're not healed and happy and whole. So no one's fighting for your love, Chris. Get your life. Excuse me, sorry. So Amber shares a little bit. She opens up. I did like the fact that Chris asked her, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me how you grew up. Yeah, get some background on these people. So Amber shares that she's a DA. And Chris is like super happy about that. But I skipped the part. So Amber talks about how she was adopted and she recently had a reconnection with her siblings. And then Chris talks about his daddy, his father, who was a Rolling Stone, who had 11 kids. And I'm like, Chris, that's not the same. The story, like they don't go together, but he was trying to share. So I'm going to let that go. But I wish he had just dove a little bit more into that and just kind of heard her out a little bit more. I don't know. KG is kind of interesting this season. Anyway, KG asks she opens up, Amber opens up a little bit more about her life and says that she's a DA and she doesn't normally tell anybody. Chris is like, yeah, your stock just went up. Chris is looking for someone to take care of him, and Amber is looking for someone that won't leave. That's what I see. That's my opinion. Don't Amber. I'm not gonna say that. It may work out. I hope if you two end up together, I hope it works out, and I hope it's okay. But Amber, I would be very cautious because, being in the system and things like that. I don't know if you have abandonment issues, and if so, if you've dealt with those issues, and because a lot of times we have codependency. So I have abandonment issues, right? So sometimes you become codependent. You're just looking for someone to care for and someone to love, and you're assigning yourself a duty that really isn't for you. So I don't know if that is Amber's case, but you have to be very careful because you can become an enabler, you can become a codependent, and you will get yourself in a relationship that is not reciprocal, and a person isn't really the best that you can do. I don't think Chris is a bad guy, but I don't think Chris is being honest about what it is that he wants. I think he's saying without saying, but he's trying to act as though it's something else. And he's dressing it up in, I just want you to be free. I want you to be happy. No, what he wants is for you to take care of him and for him to be able to, live his dream life and not have to really worry about the responsibility of the house. That's what I get. He hasn't shown anything other than that. I get I want somebody that makes some good money so I don't have to worry about it, so I can continue living my dreams and not have to worry about making major money or really taking care of anyone. He will definitely be there for you. I could see Chris as being a house husband all day long. And if that works for you, that works for you. Because I know women who they just want the man home. I'm not gonna speak to that right now, and I'm not gonna judge, but Amber girl, just be careful, okay? Um, so Stacy and David meet up next. They meet up for Pilates, and David came in late and didn't apologize. He just said, "Did I? Am I late?" Stacy's like, "Yeah, you're late." Stacy is very forward, and I think that's off-putting. But I have my eye on David. I don't trust David. I don't trust David. Um, he was rude. He didn't take accountability, and I thought that was, you know, just apologize. You know what? I'm sorry I'm late. Because what you're saying when you just show up late somewhere is your time or you aren't valuable. Like that's what you're communicating. And so the fact that he wouldn't even acknowledge it is, again, that's a red flag for me. But Stacy lets him know you're late. And then David says he wants marriage, which I like the fact that he knows what he wants. David says, I want marriage. And they start talking about trust and they start talking about privacy versus secrecy and transparency. David's like, I want passwords to everything. Listen, to each his own. I know a lot of people who do that, like their mate has access to everything and other people not. Here's the red flag for me. And Stacy said, she's like, it's a red flag for me. She's like, I don't want all of that, And David's like, no, I need everything. For me, here's the thing. David either wants control or he is terrified, in which he still wants control, but the reasoning behind it may be different. So either he's scared that he's going to get hurt again, and so he wants control, or he wants control because he's controlling. David gives me a little bit of the narcissist vibe. I'm not going to lie. And it's just concerning to me. If you trust a person, you don't want their access to their inner thoughts. Like my diary is off limits. My conversations with the Lord and myself are off limits. And journaling and things like that is therapeutic for me. That's like going to my therapist when I'm having a one-on-one. I don't want that for a one-on-one. If we're having couples therapy, then that's what it is. If I need to vent about you, but I'm not ready to say it in a way that I know that would be conducive to our relationship, I want to be able to put that somewhere, work on that, and then come to you. And if you're impeding on that, I don't have a safe space. And so I understood what Stacy was saying. Now, from his standpoint, I can understand you wanting access. Here's the thing. Baby, if something happens, my stuff is here. My passcodes, my information is here. But I don't want to feel like you're lurking about my private things, especially when it comes down to like my diary. Instagram and all of that, I don't really care about like social media or emails or things like that. But my innermost thoughts and feelings, I feel like there should be enough trust and the environment should be safe enough where I can have this to myself. And I don't think he wants to allow that. And he says, well, you can do it for me too. But I just don't feel like that's comfortable. And I don't think that he would really be, honestly, I don't think he'll really be that transparent. But we'll see as time goes on. But David has flags all over the place. They are red and yellow and red and yellow. There's no green. There's no green other than his hair. David has nice hair. Okay. He wants marriage. They talk about their non-negotiable. And I really do like the fact that they've discussed their non-negotiables up front in a sense. And Stacy's like, it's a no for me. And David's like, it's a no for me. So they know they can move on past it. It wasn't really a superficial conversation. They were very clear about what it is that's important. Like David lets it know that transparency is important to him. Stacy let it be known that that's not going to happen to that. That's a red flag for her. So I commend her for that. Anyway, AJ, Jason, Liz, and Alexis meet up. Liz got game. They're playing a game. Liz is beating everybody. She's just doing the thing. So I like Liz. I think Liz is a sweet spirit. And I like that there's so much to her, but she allows the layers to be peeled back versus like throwing it in your face like I am here. I like that about Liz. Jason sees Alexis as a parent. And I can so relate to that because, like I said, I'm a nurse, I'm a registered nurse. I cannot date my patients. I don't like when my patients flirt with me because I can't get the fact that you're a patient out of my mind. And I think Jason feels the same way. He was like over in the corner, like, yeah, so hey, Miss Carter. Jesus, like, no, I'm uncomfortable. Pineapples. He should have just called out pineapples. He wasn't comfortable at all. Alexa shares that quality time is her love language, and I commend the fact that she knows that quality time is her love language. But then she starts talking about that time in a month, and I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Now, let me say this: the editing is funny because some things are just kind of a lot of out of left field, and I don't think everything is out of left field. I think it's kind of how the editing is going down. But I was like, girl, that's something you wait a minute, just wait before you let too much. Slow roll that thing, ladies. Slow roll that thing. Everything isn't to be said. I know you want your friend and you want to be transparent, but you have to like go through layers, the steps. There's steps. Don't just shoot for the top. Slow down a little bit. AJ and Liz talk, and Liz talks about abstaining. She asks AJ about abstaining. And before I really get into their conversation, I'm gonna say this: Liz strikes me as someone who did a lot, and I'm gonna get into that later. Like she dated a lot, and now she's just trying something new, right? She's just trying to figure out what works for her. How can she get this right? And Liz, if I was your friend, my recommendation, it's time to kind of get to know you better, because even when she was responding to him, so AJ asked the question before I answer. AJ says, before I answer, and he started asking some probing questions, which was really good. And Liz was like, that's what I want. It's like, girl, you're not even convinced that this is what you're trying to do. You're rolling the dice and say, okay, let me try this because this wasn't working. And there isn't anything wrong with trying to eliminate things that you feel like may be a distraction. But you got to be sure that this is what you want before you have this conversation. And I'm not quite sure that abstinence is really what she wants, more than I just want to make sure you're not going to play games. I don't end up in some mess and we're going to really be together before we become intimate. And I think that's what she was saying. I don't think she's really trying to abstain from marriage. I think she's just trying to abstain till the relationship is a solid relationship, which is kind of a different conversation. And AJ, he asked some questions to seek some understanding, and he lets her know it's not really for him, but he was very respectful. And I really think he feels like she's just a little too good for him. From the outside looking in, I'm not sure. I said that already. I don't think Liz is convinced. And Liz makes a statement like, I think I could change his mind. Liz, that's a dangerous game. If that man tells you that's not what he's trying to do, that is not what he's trying to do. Ladies, when someone tells you what it is and they show you what it is, that is what you have to believe. No matter how you think you're good for him, how you think you can change him, you see the potential in him, you may feel like you're called for his life, but he doesn't see you as a calling. Let it go. Liz, I wouldn't even pursue this anymore. Although really think she's into David. I think this is going to be a non-factor. But just the takeaway from this is you can't change anybody. Don't try to change their mind. He said what he said. He said, I've been there before. I'm not interested again. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he's saying. Like, I'm not doing that, So you have to take that, accept that, and move forward. It isn't a good fit for you. So Ron and Chrysanthemum meet up and they go and they play games. It was cute. They played Connect Four, which I used to be so good at Connect Four. I suck at it now. Me and my best friend went to New Orleans and she whooped me in that game. I was so upset. Like, what happened to my skills? Anyway, Ron and Chris meet up and it seems like they're enjoying each other. Ron is transparent. He's telling a little bit about his past. Um, Ron lets Chris know that she was in his top from the beginning. And see, let me tell you something, ladies. When a man, this is for especially like Alexis and really Alexis right now. She's the main one that's doing this, but this has happened in the past where everybody's like, who's your number one? Who's your number one? Who's your number one? When a man has chosen you, you will know you've been chosen. Now, don't get it twisted. You choose him as well. okay? Because that's your life partner as well, potentially. But when he wants you, it's going to be known that he wants you. And Ron said, "You're my number one. You know, you're my top, rather." He didn't say number one. I really hate this whole number one top conversation, but it's part of the show, I guess. Every season they do this crap. So I'm gonna let that slide. But Ryan lets her know, like, yeah, I was digging you. You know, he was it seems like he was very comfortable with her. He was just talking, but Chris didn't give a lot to him. And I found that interesting. She didn't say a lot about herself. She said, I want a man and I want him to lead. But Chris, what does that look like for you? What does leadership look like for you? What does providing look like for you? I talk about this on my podcast, and we talked about a provider. When you talk about a provider, what exactly do you want him to provide? Because you could want him to provide financially, and he does that, but that may pull him away. So, do you need his time as well? So if he's home but he makes less money, are you okay with that? Like that's a blanket statement to just say, I want him to provide and I want him to lead. What does that look like for you? And then who are you, Chris? Like she didn't say who she was. And I wish she had shared more of herself and her thoughts on things and who she was as a person. She just said what she wants, but who are you? So, but they had a good date. Next up, we have Liz and David. They go on a date. Liz goes to David's house. It seems like he has a very nice house. He greets her at the door with a rose. And she said later that it made her feel like a lady, which that was a very sweet gesture. I did notice though, they kind of cut it and then cut it out where she was seating herself. I'm like, you could have pulled that chair for that lady. You claim to be what you claim to be. You would have pulled that chair for that lady. I'm telling y'all, I don't trust David. David and Touchy Troy, they both rubbed me the wrong way. And AJ. Anyway, um, D- David, I put David likes to be in control. And you can just, okay, moving on. Sorry, moving on. Liz shares that she's single. She's been single for 17 years. And this is what I was talking about earlier. She's been in these situationships. And that's why I think she's just trying to figure out what works for her. And I think she's leaning more on the traditional religious aspect of life to get there. So I'm going to abstain. I've been there. I've done it. I've done it. That's why I can recognize it, where you're just like, okay, I'm tired of all of this. Let me um try this and see if it works. It didn't work for me, honestly. So what I think is more important is that you're solid in who you are as a person. And if it didn't work for me, it may work for you. There's plenty of people that it worked for, Megan Good and her husband had a whole book and everything about it. So I think it's up to you, but just spend more time. My suggestion to Liz would be is like spend more time with you and really, really be sure about what it is that you're looking for. David shares about his marriages. And he said it's the first one he wasn't really ready for. He was young. And then the second one, she walked out. And this would have been a great opportunity for Liz to say why. And she didn't. And that is the time when you get those openings, walk through the door, right? He said, I showed up, I did all these things, and she just walked away. And she just left it because she's so busy looking at his hurt because he's about to cry 50 times. And it's like, Liz, sweetie, ask questions, inquire, because there are a lot of flags that are he has like red sprinkles at this point. So she should ask why. I would have liked for her to delve into why more. And she could have also asked him, like, how have you healed from that? And what have you learned from that? Like, those would have been great follow-up questions. Don't don't watch so much of his emotion so much because he's like getting emotional. And yeah, I do preach that you watch nonverbal cues, but you got to know when somebody's putting on too. So, David strikes me as someone you can say one thing and all of that will go away. She could have threw him a curveball, but without even doing that, I would have wanted to know why did she just walk away? Did you guys ever talk about it? What led up to it? Was this like blind? What did she say was happening in your marriage that she decided to walk away? Did you pressure this woman into marrying you? Like, what's going on? There's too much that's left on the table there. And then what have you learned from that? How did that make you better? How did you heal? What did you do to heal? Because it's obvious that he has a lot of fear, but there's something else going on with David. I'm not here for it. David is talking about his fear of people walking away. And I have a predator episode on a podcast, and I talk about how they groom you. And one of the things that abusers and predators do is they pull you in with, I don't want to be left. Because that is what they're going to go back to. If you ever watched What's Love Have to Do with It, that's what I did in that movie. He, from the beginning, said people always leave me, so she's going to feel guilty anytime she tries to leave, no matter the abuse that he gives her. So that's why I say he gives me a lot of red flags. I'm like, Liz, baby, you got to do better, because this one right here, he's not it. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I really don't. His has to be control, and him, I don't trust David. But anyway, David said people were walking up, and like I said, I think he's grooming her because she's a church woman. She wants to be in love. She wants to be married. And he's like, yeah, I can have her in a situation. These are my opinions. I can have her in a situation where she's not going to leave me because she's a good church girl. I can pull out, that you're supposed to forgive me. That's what David is giving me. I don't trust him. Number 8, the ladies, my number 8, not for you guys, sorry. Anyway, the ladies meet up for the final discussion. They come all to the table. Vernisha is glowing. She's happy. She had a good date with her and Joelle. Bernice, I'm gonna need you to dig a little deeper, honey, and then reveal a little bit more of yourself. Liz talks about her date with David, and she was very happy. Chrysanthemum says Ron and her date went well, and he checks all of her boxes. But I want to know what those boxes are. Like, I don't know what those are. I'm so confused. Lead and be a man. Okay, he's a male. What's a man to you, and how is he leading? How does he show that he can lead you? I'm like, I just want you to expound on that just a little more. Amber likes Chris, and I think those two are probably going to be fine together because they are like a puzzle in the sense that he wants this and she's willing to give this, and then they're going to go together. I'm getting my nails done today, you guys. They look a mess. I'm sorry. Stacy talks about her red flags with David. Yeah, Stacy, tell it, girl, because Tommy says he's bringing his past to the present, which is very true. He has not dealt with his issues, and there are issues a brewing, in my opinion. Liz says she isn't swayed, and I said you should be, because he is sprinkling red sprinkles. Touchy Troy, David, and AJ are the ones that the ladies feel like aren't ready to love. Okay. But mainly Touchy Troy and David. It was just a few AJs. Stacy and David meet up. So this is when they're going to have their discussions, the one-on-ones with the gentleman. So Touchy Troy and David are the two at the bottom. Stacy meets with Touchy Troy. David meets with Amber. Troy is playing ping pong. I told you, Troy is marbles all on the floor. He is a bag of marbles that somebody cut the hole just all over. Oh, no. Yeah, I learned this. He says a whole lot of nothing. So, Troy, you need to grow up, and you need to go talk to somebody, and you need to learn about boundaries and respect and being honest and work on your integrity as a person. Okay. David. I don't trust David. I've said that 1,000 times. So they sent Troy home. Amber talked to David, and Amber was trying to just let David know what the ladies were saying. And he said that Stacy took their conversation out of context. And I could see how somebody may view it as that, because the editing is interesting. So I do think there was a lot that was edited out, but you can see his frustration. And the bottom line is this, David, she wasn't the only one that saw something. Okay. And you have had some hurts and some pains, like you cried. And there isn't anything wrong with being emotional, but there's just some instability there. But he was frustrated and he said, this is what I want for my wife. And there isn't anything wrong with what he wants or how he wants his relationship to be, but it's the motive that is concerning. It's the motive. I can say I want an open relationship where we just talk and communicate about anything, and he can have my passwords. Yeah, I really don't have a problem with that. But why do you want that? Is the issue. For me, it's just I have nothing to hide. My only request is that the things that are truly sacred to me are sacred, so respect my boundaries and respect my diary or journal or my audios of me expressing myself. Respect me when I am in the closet and it's just me and the Lord and I'm praying. That's our time. That has nothing to do with you. You have to let a person have their space. And I don't think David will be willing to do that because I feel like he just wants control. It could be control, it could be fear, it could be a number of things. But for me, it's alarming and it's a red flag. There are a lot of red flags. So, Liz, be careful. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of my review on Ready to Love, Sipping Tea, or whatever they called it. I don't know, drinking wine and sipping tea. That's the name of it. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I also have a podcast called Let the Lady Speak. You can check that out. I do upload some of my videos on YouTube. However, you can find them on any podcast outlet. Although Apple is acting interesting, some of them are missing. But if you go to Spotify, all of them are on Spotify. Let the Lady Speak. Please don't forget again to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Love you for who you are. Thank you for letting me speak. Mwah. Have a great day.